recording again. So good morning, ladies. I'm excited to bring this to you today. And I want to know by show of hands, how many people have read The Languages of Love? Talks about 5 languages. Has anybody read that book? I read this book as a young girl because I wanted to be a better mother. I wanted to show my children how much I love them. And so I came to understand the book. And I'm going to say this in case you haven't read the book so that we have an even playing field. So the book kind of opens with a couple walking into a counseling appointment, classic counseling question, in case you have been to counseling. What brings you in today? They always say that. Anyway, the wife says, I feel like the love has gone out of our marriage. And the husband says, anytime you don't feel loved, look at that 5-carat rock on your finger. That doesn't scream, I love you. I don't know what does. And she says, yeah, but you never tell me. And so the author explains that her language of love is words of affirmation and his is gifts. And the author further explains, we tend to love people the way we want to be loved, expecting reciprocity, right? But if we took the time to learn the way the person wants to be loved and give them love that way, our message would come through loud and clear. And so the whole idea is to kind of like learn the language of love of your husband or wife or your children or your sister and brother, your close friends. But I also want to say that I have this great coaching relationship with Christy Key Rollins. And one of the things she does that's kind of unique is she'll explain a concept and say, this is what the concept looks like when it applies to your person. This is what it looks like when you apply to relationships. And this is what it looks like when you apply to your businesses. So after months of her sort of schooling me this way, it occurred to me that I could take knowledge and scale it the same way. So my goal today is to show you how to apply the knowledge in this book to your business relationships. And that's why I titled it Economical Holiday Solutions, Showing Love and Appreciation to Your Clients, Referral Partners, and Prospects. So let's go to the first slide. And I wish I was doing this. Okay, so what are the 5 languages of love? One is words of affirmation. One is quality time. One is acts of service. One is physical touch. And one is gifts. So now, because we're applying this to business relationships, I'm going to leave out physical touch. What I would recommend in regard to that is a firm handshake and a look in the eye, or a pat on the back. But with the current state of affairs and people being very apprehensive about just, social distancing and, being very safe, I think we should kind of shelve this particular language of love and put it off to the side for the purposes of this presentation, not in your marriages or with your children, just in a business setting, because we never want to make anyone uncomfortable. Okay. So once again, everybody likes all 5 ways, but everybody has a favorite way. Okay, so let's look at this. Words of affirmation in your home could be like, hey, babe, that was a great dinner. Or I love the way you did something, but with this application, I want you to mark times on your calendar and then send a written note of affirmation, card, text. You could do it every day for a month. You could do it once a week. But that is a way to really bombard somebody. Another thing is to share a social media post with a testimony, comment a lot on their posts in an affirming way. These are all words, a way of communicating affirmation to a person. The next language of love, with quality time, I came up with this idea, and that is to learn a favorite charity of your business prospect partner or referral partner, right? And then look for an activity to volunteer together in the community. So for example, if somebody said to you, children are the next generation, I feel really bad about kids in poverty, I really would love to make a difference for the generation that's coming up behind us, you might say, hey, the Salvation Army is giving away winter coats to kids. Would you like to come with me and volunteer there? So the reason why I love this idea is because, one, the person knows that you care enough about them to know that that's important to them, right? Which is the top priority of this presentation. But also, it's a time to bond with that person, because whenever you do things together with a person, there's a bonding experience. Men that go off to war come back brothers, right? It's just a wonderful way to connect with somebody. The other thing is you're making an impact on our community for the better. And that's also a wonderful thing. A good business deal is where everybody benefits. So it's win-win-win. Um, Other things are scheduling hikes or walks, museum strolls, meeting for a cup of coffee. All of those things are quality time in a business capacity. Acts of service is taking the chore off their hands. But one of the things I'd like to recommend is not really just focusing on your person, but the significant people in that person's life, that person's spouse, that person's kids, that person's support staff. So acts of service. One of the things that a boss once did for us was he brought the youth from his church to where we worked, and he washed everyone's car in the parking lot. So when we came out from work, all our cars had been washed. And we were like, wow, that's amazing. Another time, there was a sales contest that I won, and my boss sent a maid to my house to clean my house. Because what he said is, I know you worked a lot of hours to hit that goal, Lyndah, and you might have neglected your home. So I want to thank you for putting in that time by having someone clean your house for you and covering you that way. Well, let me tell you what, I really delighted in someone coming and pushing a vacuum and dusting around here. It was like amazing. I couldn't believe it. I like gushed about it for a week. So sometimes these smallest things can really make someone's heart sing. Okay, and let's continue on. All right, so physical touch, like I said, firm handshake, pat on the back. But the other thing I came up with is, if for social distancing, you could take somebody and go get a manicure together or a pedicure together. And while you're sitting there, you can talk and visit. And that's kind of like physical touch. That's kind of in a safe and an appropriate way. It's just something for you to consider. Now, gifts. Here's an idea that I had, and I heard it from someone else who presented it. He said he went into a boardroom and he closed the deal of his life. And he was wearing what he thought was his lucky tie. Okay. What he did is he boxed up that tie and he said, my time with this tie has come to an end. And he sent it to somebody and he said, I wore this tie, at this closing the biggest deal of my life. It's always brought me good fortune. I hope it brings you the same good fortune that I've had. And he gave the tie to the person. And what I want to say is we all own a lot of stuff. So I think that if you, and only if you feel led to do this, find something in your home that you love, but you feel like someone else would love it slightly more, that you gift the things that you have, that you pass it on, that you say, my time with this wonderful thing has come to an end. I'm now going to share it with this other person. It's a way of giving a very beautiful, sentimental gift. This is not regifting. This is not getting rid of clothes that you've outgrown because you lost a lot of weight. This is not that. This is something that you like, and you're giving something that you like to this person and explaining to them, I love this thing, and I would like you to have it now. So I want to draw your attention to this very beautiful teacup that I have here. Laura Talbot brought this back from England. She loved it, but she's like, Lyndah, you drink coffee and tea all the time on our networking events. I know you're going to love this teacup. She's absolutely right. Every time I drink from it, I think I'm so lucky to have a friend like Laura. I love this cup of tea. It reminds me of Janeway on Voyager, or Captain Jean-Luc Picard always having Earl Grey hot from the replicator. So it's just a silly thing, but I really delight in it. And she didn't spend millions of dollars. It was the sentiment that was so heartwarming. Now, I want to recommend something to you. Everyone is giving gifts at this time of year, the fourth quarter. I would like to suggest an idea to you. Do not send any gifts to your business customers, prospects, or referral partners in the fourth quarter, because then you're competing with everyone else. Send your gift in August. Send it at some random time when no one else is sending gifts. because number one, you'll have the most impact for the money you're spending. Number two, you have no competition, and number three, how delightful to come home from a day of work and find some random gift waiting for you. That can really be such a lovely thing to do for another person. All right. Okay. So with this knowledge, I would like to recommend that you make a plan and you print out a calendar and mark off quarters for the love language you want to focus on that quarter. Again, like I said previously, don't send gifts the fourth quarter, pick any other quarter. And I recommend you make a list of 30 to 45 people that you want to develop for this idea. I picked those numbers specifically because every quarter has 3 months. That means in every month, it's 10 to 15 people, not an overwhelming number. Sometime during that month, you'll implement your strategy for that quarter. And this way you'll get to all of the people on your list every quarter with ease. Don't give to get. And I have a way to help you with that. You want to focus on people whose values and messages align with yours. So let me see, do I have a slide on who makes a list? No, I didn't do that. Okay, so I meant to do that. I apologize. Who makes the list? So first of all, your best person to protect yourself from not giving to get is a customer. Why? You already have their business. There's no giving to get. You've already gotten it. So you're completely innocent of giving to get when you're showing love to your customers. Now, with the referral partners, I would like you to pick business owners who you do not expect to become clients. I even have, like, for example, for me, I would pick people who I know have financial advisors that they're happy with, but what they're doing for a living totally aligns with what I believe in. So a classic example for me would be Heidi McKinney Simpson, because I'm in a Heidi approved outfit today, for example. But also people like Jenny, Laura, actually basically everybody on this call, or Tina, who keeps women safe for a living. I totally celebrate that. That's amazing. And her business, when they make money, gives to help end human trafficking. Also another thing I absolutely believe in. So Tina, I already know, has a financial advisor that she feels really good about. So I'm picking her because I'm not trying to give to get. I'm picking her because I really believe in her. I believe in her message. And what happens with that is two things. Number one, you brand yourself. Birds of a feather flock together. You brand yourself by the people who you're supporting, because people come to understand these are things you value and celebrate, right? Number two, you help a business owner who's local and real, not Amazon, some corporation who knows where. And number three, I think that when you give out like that with complete generosity, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. There's a reciprocity there, but it's an authentic reciprocity. You're not giving to get, it's a consequence of what you're doing. So here's the other thing I want to recommend. I meant to have this out before the call. Sorry about that. You can send out, I don't know if you can see this, cards, okay? And this just says, getting to know you. And you ask the person, can you rate this from 1 to 4? What do you like the most to what you like not as much? All right, because everyone likes all the ways. And you keep track of this information so that when you're doing stuff, you're communicating in the love language of the person. Now, I'm Miss Instant Gratification. So I have on this, take a photo of this and text it to me because I want to know right away. But it's exciting to learn about a person in this way and understand, what makes their heart sing. Because, at the end of the day, that's the whole point. The whole point is if you're going to spend time and energy and or money, you want to do it in a way that's meaningful and impactful. Otherwise, what are you doing? It's not a good business proposition to just, throw spaghetti on the wall to see if it sticks. is what we say in New York, which I don't know if that resonates with anybody here. But in any event, I'm excited to put this into place because I want to even just share something. I've been in sales for a great length of time, so I've had different managers across my life. The managers who said to me, how many people do you want to help this quarter or this month or whatever period of time? And I would make a commitment to how many people I wanted to help. I always blew my numbers off the charts. I once had a job at a home health agency, and I single-handedly took that company to $1 million. So I know that I'm capable of it. But when people, I've had other jobs where they say the numbers, how much money you're going to bring in to the company, how much commission are you going to make? That never excited me. Making a lot of money is a consequence of what I do when I do something right. But I never got excited to get rich. That's just not something that lights me up. And it's interesting how powerful it is to speak the language of the person who's listening. So I'm going to stop the share and say thank you for, I'm going to stop the recording as well so that we can speak freely.